Welcome to Real Estate Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters, sharing proven strategies to help you build a better business today. And here is your host, Keith Doherty.
Hello and welcome to this episode of our show. This is your host, Keith Doherty. Today our special guest is CEO and real estate agent Jonathan Alexander of the J. Alexander Real Estate Group with Keller Williams based out of Boca Raton, Florida. Amongst his many accomplishments, he's the founder of J. Alexander Real Estate Group. He entered into real estate in 2005, and since then he's grown the J. Alexander Group exponentially to become one of the preeminent real estate teams in South Florida, helping over 400 families buy and sell real estate in South Florida. Jonathan is currently ranked in the top 1% of all realtors in South Florida. He's also a member of the ALC, the Agent Leadership Council, and he's a certified luxury home specialist. And he was also featured in Top Agent magazine, highlighting his commitment to excellence. Jonathan, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks, Keith. I appreciate it. I'm very happy to be on the phone with you, and I'm looking forward to providing some value to the readers today.
Absolutely. So, Jonathan, kind of if we could start, what led you into real estate? Was it something that you knew you always wanted to do, or did you kind of just, stumble into it?
And that's a great question. When I was 21 years old, I was introduced to real estate from my mother, who's a real estate investor, and at that time she was heavily investing in properties at the time. And honestly, I've always been in sales ever since I started working, so moving to real estate was just natural for me. I believe it was a perfect match.
Excellent. And what personal attributes or traits or qualities do you think have most contributed to the success you've had, and how did you develop those?
Yeah, I feel to be successful in real estate or any business for that matter, you have to have vision, drive, determination. You have to have unwavering focus, and you really have to have the will to succeed at a high level. And as an entrepreneur, I'm sure that many can agree with me on this. It really all starts with having goals, becoming that person that you envision at the top in your mind, and I feel that you have to become that person first before it happens. And then you have to do the activities that is necessary to achieve the goals, and you really have to ask yourself, and this is what I did, is what does a top producer do throughout the day? What does their schedule look like in order to be able to do the numbers that I want to achieve? So it's really automatic in the sense that by becoming the person first, then doing the actions and activities day after day, that you usually will end up having everything that you've always wanted, and that's really been my approach since I started. I knew that in my mind, even the day one when I started in real estate, I knew I was a top agent, and it was just I was a top agent in the making, and eventually I would get to where I need to get to.
Excellent. And can you kind of give a specific example of, I guess, when these traits have played a role in your path towards success?
Sure, and that's a great question, Keith. Throughout this journey, we've run into many obstacles, some bigger than others, and there were a few times that the business could have sank. But fortunately, we do have a great support system. I've surrounded myself by great people in all areas, and so I've had really great advice, and I was able to remove myself from the situation that we were involved in and look from outside the box looking in, and that really gave me a lot of clarity and helped me think rationally about the situation. Another trait that I feel is extremely important has been my relentlessness and my determination to succeed. And being in the real estate business, I've been told no thousands of times from all types of people. For example, there have been numerous times where I was going for a listing and I was told no. And now most people, I feel, in that situation would just give up and move on to the next. I would follow up with them monthly or even weekly until they decided to list with me. And I know that 7 no's, this is what they say, 7 no's typically lead to a yes, so a lot of it has to do with being persistent and continually asking for the business. And I think that's really been one of the key traits for helping us in a path towards success.
Yeah, I think that's pretty important to point out for everybody, to what Jonathan said there, that he's relentless and he's persistent. And, you brought in the marketing statistic that tends to be an industry standard that people sometimes need 7 to 10 touch points before they'll make a decision. So staying the course, sticking with it, staying on them and moving them closer to that yes, and then not taking the no's personal, right? It sounds like you just stayed the course and you knew eventually, things are going to happen. So I think that speaks volumes there.
Absolutely. And a lot of people, Keith, they they're afraid of the no. And it really is just, it's not that the person on the other side of the phone or on the other side of the door is telling you no, they're just saying no to the situation. So it's extremely imperative. It's important for people to understand that they're just saying no to the situation and to not take it personal. And
Yeah, I
to
think
just
it's
keep the end in mind.
Yeah, I think it's another great point there. You pointed out that some people take the rejection, the no as a rejection personally. That I don't want Jonathan. I don't want I don't want to work with you, Keith. Versus hey, they're just like you said. It's the situation. It's no at that point in time, but that no, their situation could change the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden the situation is different. Now it's a yes. And so I think what he speaks there is also great too. That don't take the no as a personal reflection that they're not turning you away per se, but it wasn't fitting at that that point in time.
Exactly.
So obviously, with the success, is going to come, issues. There's going to be trials and tribulations. So what are some of the major adversities and trials that you've had to overcome to kind of achieve the success that you've had?
I would have to say the biggest, probably the biggest obstacle that we've had has been growing our team with highly talented, motivated team players. If you will. Initially, when we got, when you get into the business, you start off as a single agent. Then as the business starts to grow, and you have more clients, you get busier and busier and busier, and you really can't handle it all. So if you don't take care of the situation, it ends up spiraling out of control, and eventually either you end up burning out or your customer service quality drops significantly. So I learned that the key to growing the business and having a life by design, not by default, is having leverage. And once I applied myself to learning all the necessary steps and started to hire a team, really talented and motivated team members, everything all of a sudden got better. And that's why truly I believe that the team environment is extremely important. Most agents end up doing everything themselves throughout their career, and they miss out on a huge opportunity. They eventually either plateau or their customer service level drops and they lose repeat business. So Keith, I learned that by having a team, which is it's a newer concept in the real estate industry. By having a team, we have specialists in every facet of the business, and that way our clients always receive A+ service, and we make sure there is someone always available to assist them with their questions and needs.
Excellent. Yeah, I think that really helps to build that out, and I think another thing that points to is kind of focusing on people's strengths. It sounds like a team member could be good at listings, another might be a good buyer's agent, and then might be good at the closings, maybe the paperwork, that kind of stuff. So I think
you nailed it on
to
the
be able
head.
to so to be able to focus on people's strengths like that too, you're going to thrive together and build up as a team, and I think that's really a good point there.
And it's a great, and it's another thing you bring up, Keith, that I'd like to point out is you're absolutely right. The fact that we have everybody in their positions that they actually truly enjoy what they do, what's going to happen is, first of all, they're going to work a lot more efficiently. They're going to be happier in the workplace, and we're going to retain them. And that allows opportunities for growth, and it allows us to keep our core and continue to grow our business, so which is very exciting.
Absolutely. So, also, obviously, with having obstacles, having, different trials and tribulation as you grow towards, being successful, what has kept you going? You might have an obstacle or roadblock. Why would Jonathan not give up? What makes you drive forward and move through an obstacle?
That's a really great question, actually. I would say really the number one thing for not giving up is I've really never been a quitter in life. I've always welcomed challenges. I've always took them head on. I go back to the determination and the will to succeed that I had mentioned previously. I'm the type of person, I'm very determined. Anybody that knows me will probably say the same thing. And I know that failure is just not an option. And I'm an extremely positive person and an optimist. I'm always looking at the positive side of things, and I know that from every experience, to me, there's no such thing as failure. To me, it's a learning experience. It's like a book that one of my favorite books by John Maxwell, which is Failing Forward. It's a great book, and it really talks about failing forward in life and learning from your mistakes and from your failures, because that's how we get better. So that's really been I would say that's been the biggest thing for me is just knowing that things are always going to get better, and not taking anything personal and focusing on the end result.
Yeah, I think what you highlighted there is key to highlight and bring out again is that, failure is a learning experience. It's not necessarily, a setback, but it's a learning experience of like, hey, this didn't work. And you mentioned, Maxwell. Actually, we interviewed a gentleman the other day, too, and I liked what he said. He actually said he likes to fail fast, forward frequently.
That's
Right,
perfect.
so he wants to just let me fail as fastly as quickly as I can. So let me get the obstacles behind me so I can continue to build and move as quickly as possible.
It's so true, and I think that's the one of the biggest things from speaking with many agents. I do a little bit of coaching as well. Agents, I feel that they can't fail fast enough, and so they are hesitant. They don't want to take risks, and you can't grow that way. So I think it's very important that people understand that if you're not failing, you're not moving forward.
Absolutely. So what do you see your vision for the way you're building the J. Alexander Real Estate Group over the next 5 years? Where do you see things going?
So, Keith, our 5-year plan is to have a thriving real estate business even more than we have now, doing over $150 to $200 million a year in volume. We're also looking to expand our business into other markets, which includes capturing market share in other states as well. And one of the most important goals, and this is something newer to me, is personally making 10 people on our team millionaires. And I find that the joy is in the giving. So nothing would make me happier than helping them achieve all of their goals and dreams. And ultimately, it's confirming to them and to myself that we both made a great decision to get in business together. In regards to marketing our team and continuing to market our brand, I think we're very fortunate that we're at the forefront of technology and in several different spaces. One of the things, Keith, is being a little bit younger, 31 years old. I truly believe that we are driven by technology, and I'm also very big into branding. And I feel that it has to reflect who we are and what our business focus is. And so we're continually adding to the online space, whether it be social media, search engine optimization, online reviews. Actually, those have been instrumental in our success. Nowadays, whenever we want a good restaurant, a good movie, or whatever else it may be, we look for reviews online, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You look to almost that recommendation or something from, whether we know the person or not, right? You see that 4-star review versus if you saw a 1-star and they're like, yeah, the food was crappy, you're not going to go there.
Exactly. So, we've been very fortunate, and we've obtained several new clients from our reviews. They call us and already know who we are, what we do, what our clients say about us, and the experience that they're going to receive by working with us. So it's definitely been a game changer for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, to me personally, as well as our listeners might feel this as well, but there's, I think sometimes a lot of misconceptions when becoming an agent. So, what do you think the biggest misconception or myth people have about working with an agent is?
I'm really glad that you asked that. This is something that we come across all the time. And I think by far the biggest misconception about working with a real estate agent is that we're all created equal and provide the same service. The issue is, Keith, that getting a real estate license is not hard. I'm sure you know that, and our readers know that. That opens up the opportunity for people to get into our industry at really almost no cost. So it's not hard to get into the real estate business. And there aren't many that take the business seriously, unfortunately, and aren't looking to improve their level of service. So when they do get a client, they drop the ball for one reason or another. Could be lack of training, or could be just the lack of self-development. And then what happens is the client gets a bad taste of working with an agent and many times assumes that we're all the same. So it really, if I had to compare a real estate agent, I would probably compare it to a restaurant. You're going to get exceptional service and amazing food at one restaurant, and perhaps the one across the street is the complete opposite, maybe terrible food and crappy service. And that points me back to the question that you asked me before. I truly feel that's why client reviews are super important. That truly tells a story. So I highly encourage anybody that's looking to buy, sell, or even invest in real estate to look up your agent, or if you don't have one, to go online and look up the top agents with the best reviews and interview a few, then pick one. That would be my suggestion.
Yeah, I definitely think that my perception, as well as others may hold this true. It seems like the barrier of entry to become an agent is pretty easy, like you said. I mean, you obviously still have to take a little bit of training and pass a test, but I think people have grandeur of, oh, I'm just going to go get my license and become an instant success and be a millionaire because I'm an agent. But when reality, it appears to me that maybe it's like a 90-10 thing, and maybe even less, that only like 10% of the actual realtors out there like yourself are actually successful, versus the other 90 are kind of just thinking it was all magic and just going to happen for them.
Yeah, it's very true. Like you said, the barrier of entry is very slim, and nowadays anybody can get a license. So it's like it goes back to the Pareto principle. Like 20% of the agents do 80% of the business. So that's why I think it's very important for the clients reading that they're listening to this interview, that if you are looking for somebody to go online, or if you don't have somebody that's being referred to you, to go online and search and make sure that you find somebody that you can align yourself with, that has a reputation.
And that kind of leads me into my next kind of thought here is kind of give a hypothetical situation. You've kind of covered some of these points, but we'll kind of bring them all together. Is, let's say you get a call from a family member in another state, where obviously you're an agent here in the state of Florida, and they want to sell their house. What advice would you give them if you had to say, okay, here's what you need to do, here's the things you need to ask, and here's what you should look for to find an ideal agent like yourself, how you serve your customers? What would you tell them so that they could best get their needs served?
So is this person a local, or are they calling from out of state?
No, they'd be from, like, let's say a family member from another state, so it wouldn't be something that you could directly, facilitate for them.
Okay, so I would say to them that they need to hire, because a lot of it has to do with visibility. So I would suggest to them that they would have to hire somebody that has the visibility online, somebody that's obviously professional, that has a set marketing plan in place, that's going to do all the different things needed to market a home to get it sold, and somebody that's going to communicate, which I feel is extremely important. That's actually the biggest complaint that most sellers have, is the lack of communication. And unfortunately, there's a lot of agents out there that they'll take a listing and they'll never hear from them again. So I think it's imperative, again, going back to the reviews, to find somebody that specializes in selling homes, because not all agents, like I said, are created equal. There's some agents that are better working with buyers, and then there are certain agents that are better working on the listing side. So I think it's imperative that they find a listing specialist, somebody that does this at a very high level, that could guide them, in the right direction.
Absolutely. So let's say someone wants to find out more about you and what you can do in the J. Alexander Real Estate Group. Where's the best place people could go to find out more information?
Yes, absolutely. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in South Florida, we would love to help. We cover Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami-Dade. And if you want to find more information about us, or you want to read about us, please go to www.jalexandergroup.com, or you can call us at 561-962-2865. We would love to set up a consultation and see how we can help you with all of your real estate goals.
Excellent. Well, I just want to, take a second here to thank you, Jonathan, for taking time out of your busy schedule and coming here today and share your business experience with everybody.
Absolutely.
Obviously, if anybody's interested, obviously, you're in the South Florida area, like Jonathan said, you go ahead and head over to his site. You'll actually be a link below this interview that you'll be able to click to get in touch with Jonathan, as well as the entire J. Alexander Real Estate Group. So with that said, everybody, thank you again for being part of our show today. Until our next show, have a great day.
Thanks for listening to Real Estate Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading real estate industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at realestateinnovatorsradio.com today.